don't think 75 degrees and like a slight wind chill is
It is
cold.
windy.
It's
Last
not
night you were
that
cold
windy.
though.
No, I was cold for a second, but
See?
then like you get used to it.
So we have a bet, right, guys? Basically, I bet her that in Florida it's gonna drop below 50 or 50 exact. She's like, no way, no, Florida, blah blah blah. All right, bet. So if she wins, I jump in a pool.
No, you jump in the fountain outside your
my
apartment.
And if I win, sure. Okay, I can't say it, but matter of fact is that like she's gonna lose the bet. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna laugh to the bank, and yeah.
It's not gonna be below 50, and even if it is,
Listen, man.
it's not.
All I'm saying is I've been here for 6 years. I've seen the worst, the good, the bad. So I know what's going on right now. But
why can't you come on the show? This is my show. You don't get it, bro. You don't want her in the spotlight like that because obviously you didn't check her HoeFax.
He's not living up.
What's up, players, old players, young players, and players in training? It's your boy, Ayindei, coming to you from Authentic Alphas. And I'm about to keep it authentic again, as always. So you guys saw the little clip right there of your boy, Fresh Prince, CEO. And I'm going to go ahead and use characters and a story that I know you guys are already familiar with to go ahead and prove some points, kick some more of that free game, and use it as a vehicle to get the message across to you guys. So this video isn't about bashing Fresh. I mean, we already know what Fresh is. The thing is that everybody that's covered this has covered it mostly from an entertainment standpoint, and we made jokes and we laughed and ha ha ha. It was funny to see one of these boys take another L, which is becoming just the nature of their their existence, but I'm more interested in actually learning from these L's and using them as teachable moments. So coming up on March will be finally 1 complete year that I've had my YouTube channel, and I've gone out of my way to keep that channel unmonetized so that I can be authentic with you guys without a doubt and be giving you all of this free game for a full 12 months without charging anybody anything, without any type of monetization, without making any kind of money, aside from the one-on-one consults that I do, which of course is people who are already confident in my advice and my perspective and my insight, and they are definitely getting their money's worth. Anybody that I've consulted so far, long before I even had YouTube, was able to get better results with my advice. So I'm very proud of that. I have confidence in what I'm saying and what I'm delivering to men of all ages, which is something that it's quite unique. You know, I gotta be honest. You know, not trying to toot my own horn, but it's definitely a unique quality that I picked up from my grandpa, being able to give good, sound, actionable advice that's actually going to help people, rather than just say what probably the average person would tell them or what's common sense. So what's more important than pointing these things out is actually giving guys a course of action. You know, let me give an example. In this so-called self-improvement space or the dating space, you hear a lot about be confident, but nobody's actually telling these guys how to develop or build confidence. You don't just go out there and be confident. Or they'll tell them maintain frame. Well, how are you going to maintain a frame that you've never developed? You have to first even have the frame to maintain the frame. You know what I mean? So just be assertive and be comfortable. If you're comfortable, the women will be comfortable around you. Well, you're not going to be comfortable doing something you don't have experience doing. So I'm about giving you guys tips and advice that you can actually put to use tomorrow, today, within the hour. As soon as the video is done, you can get your ass up, go out there and do the shit that I'm talking about, and it's going to work for you. All right? So I have a few clips that I comprised to kind of help me illustrate my point that were made by content creators that I personally know. Like, I've met all these guys, so I'm confident in what they're talking about. I know they walk the walk, you know what I mean? So that's what that's about. So real quick, I just want to point out a couple of things that I've noticed about the whole Fresh and Miranda situation that I think nobody else really addressed. I kind of just sat back and watched it. So, you know, everybody's just fixated on the fact that he was simping. So I'm going to start with that. Was Fresh simping? Yes. Is Fresh a simp? Fresh is a simp by choice, just like any other man. And I say this because I spent a lot of time with Fresh, and on many occasions I witnessed him, if not partaked in him, bagging up cuties without simping, without using gaudy jewelry to get their attention, without flashy sports cars. Even this picture I'm about to put up right now, I took this picture. And he bagged that girl up without her knowing anything about a podcast, how much money he was making, or anything like that. He was just walking his dog. We saw an attractive chick. I said, yo, Fresh, what's up with that? And he went and cold approached. And to be honest with you, I've never really seen like Fresh fail, cold approaching. So, you know what I mean? I just got to be honest across the board. If somebody is full of shit, they're full of shit. But if somebody has some qualities, they got some qualities. I'm gonna point those out too. Myron is extremely hardworking. I've never taken that from him. He is hyper focused, so I'll give him that. As far as experience with women, absolutely none. And according to the video that you just watched, if you have any experience with having girlfriends, you'd be able to tell right off rip that Fresh has no experience having actual girlfriends. So that's the place where he has zero knowledge or understanding, and it's part of why he fell so flat on his face with Miranda. He might have experience hooking up with chicks casually. He might have experience with simping. He might have experience with flying girls out and all that other kind of stuff, but he doesn't have experience with having genuine relationships with girls that just like him for who he is and being in that committed relationship with him. And I think that's excellent that he's trying to kind of, evolve more into like actually having a girlfriend and being a boyfriend. And you have to do that when you start becoming, of higher value. You start becoming busy and you're constantly working. You don't have time to be out here chasing these random, skitty de-wops or whatever you want to call them, 304s, whatever name you want to give them. Who has time to run out here and chase these empty women? So I definitely do co-sign to men trying to find a girl that's worth having a relationship with, as difficult as it is nowadays. That red pill, that extreme red pill advice that like women aren't worth having relationships with, that's ridiculous. The price of cars are going up, the price of insurance is going up, but that doesn't mean it's not worth still having a car of your own. So yeah, guys, it's harder to find quality women. It's harder to vet women, but that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can get some more information, some more tips to kind of navigate a little bit better. Because I am trying to actually help men navigate the landscape and masculinity. I'm not just saying that and selling you some bullshit course. I'm actually giving you this information for free, and it's sound. Okay, so the simping thing, I'm not even going to go into detail with it. Like I said, I've witnessed it myself. Fresh does not have a problem getting women without simping, without using his material assets or his status or clout. So with the simping, I'm going to keep it real simple and real short, guys. Simping is a choice. It's a choice. Being in the friend zone, it's a choice. And being in a relationship with women that aren't worth it and don't deserve you, it's also a choice. So this video is going to cover how you make a better choice, okay? Because the choice is yours. So I'm just going to go over a couple of more other things that I noticed about that situation, and we'll discuss them as the video goes on. So we already got simping out of the way. The next thing is that he brought his chick on the show. He brought her on the air. Whether he met her there or not, the moment you decided that you wanted to do something with the woman, keep her far away from your work, all right? After she's vetted properly, maybe you bring her around your family, depending on how she pans out, and friends. So it should go in that order. You vet the chick first, then you bring her around friends, you vet her some more before you bring her around family. And as far as work is concerned, if she ain't dropping off your lunch, she don't need to be nowhere near your work, guys. So that's another mistake he made, bringing her on the show and making it public. The next thing is, as you become higher value, you shouldn't necessarily have to change your mindset with women. You should always have the mindset that I'm about to describe. You should always have it regardless if you're, broken working on building value or if you're already valuable. The mindset should somewhat be the same, but the execution and the strategy and the precautions that you take, all those things are going to change and vary as you acquire value and you become more valuable, because you have more to lose. Not only do you have more to lose, but you also attract more of people trying to take advantage of you. You attract more parasites and gold diggers, clout chasers, and things of that nature, okay? So, I'm just going to go ahead and call that the high-valued risk. Know that as you gain value, everything that you do becomes more of a risk, guys. That's very important. Real quick, because some of the guys watching me are like young and stuff. The first time I realized that was an issue was like senior year high school, and I started seeing, what guys were far more athletic than me, and they were going to move forward to play college ball. They were getting scholarships and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, hey, like Skilo said, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I did have a girl that looked good, and I did call her, but I stopped growing, so I didn't get the height to play basketball, and I wasn't good enough in football to get a scholarship. But I noticed that the guys that were or did or whatever, those guys were, a lot of them were taking a lot of risk with females. Some of them were getting girls pregnant, and now it was like, shit, is this guy going to be able to go to college now because he got a girl pregnant? What is he going to do? So that's how early I started realizing that, when you got something going for you, you got to be extra careful, bro, when it comes to women especially, because every little thing can jeopardize your future, Just like if you're hanging out with your boys and they get into a lot of trouble and mischief, the moment you got opportunities, you got scholarships, you got all these things on the table, you can't be running around with those same dudes. If they get caught and arrested, it's no big deal. They're in and out of jail. If you get caught and arrested, you might lose your scholarship. You get what I'm trying to say? I thought you would. All right, so moving on. The next thing is that it's his ego and his arrogance. First was in a situation where the success was coming so fast, and him and Myron got to talking about, high value man and giving all this advice and all this kind of stuff, and don't get finessed, don't let girls finesse you. I've seen both of them get finessed badly by chicks, okay, badly. Fresh's situation was just a little bit more public, but I've seen them both get finessed by girls and get finessed by money while giving this advice. So I think what happens is when you pretend to be something for too long, you start actually believing it yourself. If you're a soft ass dude and you're over here hanging out with gang members and dressing like you a thug and trying to talk like you from the street and you about that life, you get used to jumping guys and all that kind of stuff and robbing guys with your boys, and then there comes a time when you have to fight by yourself and you get your ass beat. But going into it, you thought you was going to get another W. Yeah, you was pretending to be hard for so long, you thought you were actually hard, and then reality sunk in. So I think the arrogance and the ego of thinking that there's all of a sudden some players, because they're getting super successful on YouTube, went to the head, and these guys think that all of a sudden they're immune to women like the rest of us. Nah, son, nah, son. No matter who you are, how much experience you have, don't ever let your head get too big to think that a chick can't finesse you. All right, stay on your toes. And then one more thing is instruction and direction. He never made Miranda earn anything. He didn't properly vet her. We're gonna get into that in a second, how you guys can vet these women properly. He obviously didn't vet her. He didn't check the HoeFax. But on top of that, he didn't even say that, look, this is what it is. I'm this dude, I got value, blah, 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 blah. I'm about to change your life, but listen, I need to know that you're worth it. I need to know that you're serious. I need to know that you're dedicated and you're focused and you're going to get on my program. There's plenty of other girls out here that would love to be in the position that I'm about to put you in. But am I, though? So that's the thing. He didn't give any instruction. He didn't demand her to prove anything. So yeah, man, that's very important. It's part of being the leader and controlling the relationship, and it's all about choice. Remember, you have the choice. The choice is yours. Women choose who they open their legs for. Men choose who they commit to. Let's go.
You think like you should be able to slide into somebody's DMs and chat her up and then have her come through and Netflix and chill? I hear more bullshit from men talk about, man, women out here dating this and that, and I'm not going to spend more than $20 on a date until I get to know such and so forth. That's what I think of all y'all saying that shit. So I think of all men saying this shit, and let me tell you why I think that. Because it is on us to ask better questions before you take somebody out. If you end up going out with a woman and she is a dinner scammer, then you failed. That is a horrible attitude to go into the market. I'm going to treat all women. I'm going to take a woman that's obviously up here out to Starbucks because I don't want to get scammed for $30. Keep your broke ass at home.
Okay, so shout out to the Godfather, Big Kevin Samuels, Uncle Kev as I like to call him. Now, I put that clip in there because I thought that that was very interesting. It's something that I've actually been thinking about a lot after hearing, these dating coaches telling you guys, oh yeah, don't spend money on women, don't take women on dates. If you first meeting a woman, invite her to a coffee date, you know, invite her to a walk on the park and spend no money. All right. All right. This channel is authentic alphas. Okay? It's about like the truth, keeping it real. Not telling guys what they want to hear to get them to break open that wallet. All right? I'm not about giving you guys the path with the least resistance. I'm not about giving you this feel-good advice that's like, girls are bad, guys are good. Yeah, F those 304s. We don't need them. Yeah, right. Okay? Women improve the quality of life. The thing is that you have to navigate them correctly or else they will destroy the quality of life. And the thing about that is, comes back to what I'm saying, the overall message of this video is choice. Okay? Now, when you're choosing women, you need to already know what you are choosing her for. What are you engaging, you know what I'm saying, with this woman for? What is your goal here? And there are certain women that you take on a coffee date. There's certain women you meet them at Starbucks and you spend $6, $7, $8 in total. And you start the vetting process there because of the caliber of woman that she is. A Starbucks date might do. Okay? Now, if she's a higher caliber of woman, regardless of whether or not you want to wife her up, that's not what I'm saying. Okay? I'm not saying you're going to wife her up. I'm just saying if she's a higher caliber of woman, her time's a little bit more valuable. She's classy. She's a little bit more sophisticated. Yeah, you might not make it with a coffee date. She might lose interest instantly that you would even suggest something like that. So a lot of young boys are impressionable. You guys are new to this shit. You're wet behind the ears, and you're taking this dumbass advice. A lot of times you're going to lose more opportunities than you're going to be able to monopolize on because you're taking this advice, you know what I mean, that isn't even put in the proper context, okay? So I put that clip in there because Kevin brought up that point. I'm like, okay, he beat me to it. But yes, that's a very good point. You have to differentiate which women you spend no money on to get to know, and the women where you might have to make a slight investment on the front end. All right? So Kevin didn't really go that far. He just said, like, don't be a broke-ass dude. You need to have enough, you know what I'm saying, sophistication to take a woman on a real date. And if you got to worry about her wasting your money, number one, that makes you look broke, that you can't even afford a dinner to find out, you know, a little bit more about this woman. But also that means that you're not what? Vetting her properly. And that's what we're going to talk about, vetting. Let's go.
Same thing with you. You can't trust people to be interested in you after they know you have the resources. Because now if you lead with the wallet, they're just going to use you. They're parasites when it comes to this. And this is how nature works. They're designed to be parasitic for the most part and gather those resources when they know you have it. So
shout out to the Coach Gang. That was my boy, Coach Greg Adams, another dude in the space that I highly respect. And also he gives very, very adequate advice. So that's why I put that clip in there. And you see he's addressing guys leading with their money, leading with that wallet, right? So I thought that that was perfect going in the direction that I'm going in as far as talking about which women do you invest a little bit more money to get to know, and which women are you like, listen, let's meet at the gym, let's meet at Starbucks, let's meet at the beach, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. Now, these suggestions and tips, I feel like they always need to be given with proper context, because a lot of you guys don't have the experience, so you're not really going to understand what these older grown-ass men mean when they say certain things. So even what Kevin said could be misleading if you don't understand the context, and then what Coach Greg Adams said could be also confusing if you don't know the context, especially if you put the two together. So it's like, hold on, I'm supposed to take her on an expensive date or a classy date right off the rip, but then I'm leading with my money, and okay, let me explain. There are ways to spend a little bit of money, create an ambiance, take a woman to a nice restaurant or a nice whatever, without leading with your money, okay? It's delicate. It's going to take some experience, and I probably have to make a whole separate video on it, so I don't want to go off on a tangent because we're talking about vetting here, but I do want to mention that when vetting, you still have to not lead with your money. Try not to let these women know how much you're worth, whether you're a broke-ass dude that's working on yourself or you're already accomplished. Either way, you want to keep as much in mystery as possible. So I guess the easiest way I can say this to you guys is try to be more like a detective more like an employer that's interviewing an employee. And of course, some employees are going to or potential employees are going to try to ask questions about the company, ask questions about the business. But they obviously know enough about it to want the job, if you know what I'm trying to say. So that meeting, that interview needs to be more about the employer learning about the potential employee. So that's you guys, that's the man, that's the one with the choice. So you need to be finding out far more about this female than she's finding out about you. Now, are you going to look like a broke ass dude avoiding paying for things? Of course not. But at the same time, you're not going to be offering to pay for things. The idea is you're only financing the opportunity to interview this potential employee.
Back in. But this ain't to be played with, especially when you're making $200K per year and you're going to do that for the next 10 to 12 years. We're talking about $2 million, all right, plus all of your investments, plus what you're worth in real estate, plus your lack of expenses with women, families and kids and children. Bro, you're going to stack money. And so you got to protect that at all costs. And you got to make sure you're with people who understand that that's a protection for you and not trying to capitalize on you. It's the difficulty of living the free agent lifestyle and stacking chips and becoming, traveling and buying cars. Now more women are going to come after you. But most of these women are not even qualified to be with you. Okay, this is when you have to find somebody that understands the terms of what it is. They agree with you. They're not trying to set you up. They're not going to get pregnant on accident. These are the things you got to worry about. And this is why a lot of athletes kind of rotate around the same type of groups of women, or they pay certain groups of women because they want to keep it on the up and up as opposed to getting sucker punched on the back end. Anyway, good luck to everybody. Get your money, stack your chips. But also now, once you stack your chips, 90% plus of women are going to be disqualified. You got to disqualify them right off the rip. And you really got to. I'm just going to add
a little bit more to what he was saying. Okay, so boom, yes, as you become more valuable, you're going to be disqualifying a greater percentage of potential women. You just got to accept that. All right, but remember, you're not there because you already made your decision. That's the problem with a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys, you're letting the woman lead with her looks. So you've already decided, I want her. Nah, son, peel it the fuck back. You ain't decide shit. You're still in choice-making mode, right? So you're still vetting her is the point. So you're there to listen and learn as much as you can. Now, anything that she learns about you, any information she acquires about you, need to have nothing to do with your income, your job, your status, how much you're worth, any of those things. Because the idea is I'm trying to see if this female is interested in me or if she's interested in what she can get. And some of you are like, but Ayindei, she's going to ask these questions. Give me a second. Calm down, young boy. So what you do is whenever she starts trying to talk about her work, you say the same thing as you say if she tries to talk about your work. You are as vague as possible about what you do, right? And then you go ahead and say, listen, I don't want to talk about work. I want to get to know you. Now, you're maintaining frame. You're controlling the direction of the conversation. You're being assertive, okay? And you're also getting the information you want without giving the wrong information that might ruin the whole thing. Because if she does start showing you signals and whatnot, and you are a successful dude, now you don't know if she's on it because of what you have or if she's on it because of getting to know you. All right? So just simple things like that. So what do you do for a living? You laugh. What I do for a living. Oh, that's cute. That's adorable. Listen, I do well for myself, but I don't want to talk about work. I want to get to know you. See what I mean? If she insists on knowing or she asks again and you don't want to seem like you're being dodgy or you're avoiding the question, let's say hypothetically you're a doctor, right? Just throwing something out there. If you're a doctor, right, you simply say, I help people. Now, that answer could work for a personal trainer. It could work for a paramedic. You see what I'm saying? If you're a fireman or a police officer, you could say, I serve the public, right? Or I keep people safe. Right? So you're answering the question, but at the same time, you're deflecting and getting away from salary. Because when women ask that question, that's usually what they want to know. They want to know how much you're worth. Okay? So don't let her get ahead of herself. Remember, women are scatterbrained, they're emotional, and they're selfish, all by nature. So you got to be the one to steer the ship, guys. All right? Keep it tight.
Because I'm stingy. I'm stingy with the puss.
Excuse me?
I'm stingy with it. I do not give it up easily.
Were you married to your daughter's your baby mama though, right?
Baby, I've never been married, no, but I just
okay,
don't.
So
I know.
Hold on. Let's talk about this though. See, I find it funny that women like yourself, baby mamas, all of a sudden want to get stingy with the puss after you done
gave you a womb up before a ring. But then you want the high value men to put a ring on it before he gets it?
So am I supposed to give it away?
You goddamn right you already did. Because here's the thing. See, that's what I mean. Ma'am, you're a used vehicle wanting brand new 2021 prices. You can laugh all you want to, ma'am, but you just said 6 months. You're not even exclusive.
All right, so before we go into the meat of how I suggest you guys go about vetting women, another clip from Uncle Kev. And what he's basically doing is telling this chick, you're tripping, you're overvaluing yourself, and you have the nerve to punish new men for the behavior of old men, and you have the nerve to try to charge new men more than you charged old men. So these are one of the things that might, rear its ugly head when you are in the process of vetting women, and this is one of the things that's going to disqualify a woman. Okay, so you have to start asking the right questions to figure out how was her past relationships. Okay, what was she giving these guys in these past relationships, and what was she getting from these guys? Because a woman will very well use a guy who is responsible, got his ish together to make up for all the pookies and ray-rays or underachievers that she dealt with in the past. And if that's the case, most likely she already gave those guys her best, and now she's over here trying to get the best of the good guy. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to be that guy that's getting taken advantage of. So you want to kind of ask these questions to find out where their mentality is and where their values are, and also what their agenda is. And I guess I have to make a whole separate video on that, how to get clever as to understanding not what women say, but what they actually mean by what they say. So there's a bunch of catchphrases that I think you guys are all getting familiar with, like, I've had my fun, now I'm ready to settle down, or I'm dating with a purpose. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of these things, it's an agenda, basically, okay? And they're looking for a sucker when they're talking like that. So I want to teach you guys how to look out for that type of lingo so you can avoid having a terrible relationship that's gonna cost you more than it's worth. So yeah, the way that she was talking was like, hold up, you didn't make your baby daddy wait for it, but you trying to make me wait for it and get commitment for it. You didn't even get commitment from your baby daddy. But the one thing that Kevin did say, or the analogy that he used, that I'm going to use to transition into my advice and my train of thought and my thinking, is that you women are like used cars trying to charge men brand new car prices. Now, this is an analogy or a way of thinking that I've had for well over a decade. And it's something that when I say it to women, it always offends them. And it offends them to the next level. I even have a video here recently where a girl walked out on an interview because I used the woman versus car analogy, basically comparing women to vehicles, to cars. Now, I'm sorry if I don't give two shits about what offends women, if it's A, true, and B, helps men. I'm sorry. Pandering to women or women's feelings never has and never will be my priority. And this is coming from a dude that's been married. I've had plenty of long relationships. I've had plenty of short relationships. I've had great luck with women. And I've dated and interacted with them in pretty much every way that you can interact with a woman. And guess what? I've never pandered to their feelings. I've never prioritized their feelings, ever. So I say that as to say, guys, that's not really a priority. There's enough guys already doing that, okay? Women will survive if you're just blunt and straight to the point, okay? And as a man, it's okay for you to use whatever analogies or whatever frame of mind that we need to communicate and exchange ideas and information to one another. So as far as comparing women to cars, I think that's something that all guys with a fucking driver's license can relate to. All right, so that leads me to my next clip, and I'm going to show you guys all of the parallels, okay, between shopping for cars and shopping for women. You can borrow somebody else's car, much like you can have sex with somebody else's wife or somebody else's girlfriend. It ain't yours. You're not responsible for it. You're not paying the insurance. It's not in your name, but you can drive it. You can drive that bad boy from time to time. You can also steal somebody else's car. You can take a married man's girl. You could take somebody's girlfriend from him, right? So right there we have some similarities. Now, you can rent cars. Well, you can also rent women. You see what I'm saying? You can lease cars. You can also lease women. Okay, you can be in another country for 2 or 3 years and have a live-in girlfriend while you're there. And when the 3 years is up, you bounce, and that's the end of that relationship. That's like a 36-month lease, is it not? And you can also buy women or, you know, sign on, you know, for the long term till death do us part, you know what I mean? Marriage is pretty much the same as financing a car, or if you're a wealthy guy and you get married, it's like you're buying the car right out. You're not even financing it, okay? So I think that there's a lot of similarities and parallels to how cars are sold, rented, leased, borrowed, you know, bought, or whatever, and how women are. You can have an accident with a car. Women have accidents too. Okay? There are certain accidents with a car that it's always going to be an issue with that car forever. Well, there's certain accidents that women have in their lives, certain trauma that's always going to be an issue forever. So there's definitely a lot of strong similarities and parallels in checking a CarFax and checking a HoeFax. Let's go.
If you're buying a used car. One, never forget to get a pre-purchase inspection done. It's important that you have a mechanic that you trust to take a look at the vehicle you're thinking about buying and thoroughly go over the vehicle and make sure there isn't anything that needs to be addressed prior to purchasing the vehicle.
All right, so you see how my boy said have somebody else check out that vehicle? Ha ha ha. Okay, now you should have somebody else check out that female. And there's a couple of ways that I could think of that can be done. There could be you just simply confiding in a man that's older than you, more experienced than you are, that you admire and you respect, and you could ask him, you know, about, you know, what you plan to do with this female or what you're thinking, and you can go ahead and give him all the information you possibly can about the girl. You know, let him hear voice notes, let him hear voice messages, let him see pictures, you know what I mean? Explain to him, describe to him, tell him everything you know about the girl, and let him run it through his wise, more mature man brain than yours, and just give you a couple of heads up and things to look out for, and maybe kind of change your perspective a little bit, and give you some things to think about that you might not have noticed or thought of, right? That's one way. Another way is a way that I've practiced since I was a teenager. This is something I used to do since I was a teenager. When I was talking to a girl and I really thought I started liking a girl, I felt like, damn, I think I want this girl to be my girlfriend or something. What I would do is I would have one of my extremely attractive homeboys, like a dude that's like for example, my best friend in high school. He went to another high school than me, but he was still my best friend. And dude was 6 foot in high school. Now he's like 6'2", but when we were in high school, he was like 6 foot, right? And he was light-skinned, good-looking, always had the waves spinning, you know, dressed good, whole 9 yards. So what I would do is I would send him to go hit on that girl. Now, this is before social media and all this, you know, gadgets and gadgets that you guys got today. So he had to actually like take the bus, you know, or a cab and go to where the girl was, her school or her work. And I would have him, you know, adamantly hit on this girl and see what the results were. You know, obviously this would be a girl that I've already been talking to for a while, and we've already, you know, kind of got the understanding that we're getting to know each other, right? Or you know, anyway, so I would have him try to hit on this girl, and then I would have him report back to me. Did he get the phone number? What did she say? Did she say that she's talking to somebody? Was she interested, not interested, blah, blah, blah. And then based on what he came back and brought me, I can make a better decision, okay? Sometimes I would send more than one guy to the same girl, maybe 2 or 3 guys, whatever it takes for me to know how does this girl behave when I'm not around, all right? So check out this clip by my boy Austin. He's a young boy. He's up and coming, man. He's a young player. I like what he's doing. I see you out there, Mr. Dunham.
Very, very easy for me to open. I said, when are you coming back to Orlando? She said, I visit Florida often to see my in-laws. I think that means she's married, if I'm not mistaken. In-laws, right? And I said, I see. By the way, I used to be in the military myself, so I know how it is. I've always had a thing for Army girls. So one thing I noticed about this chick, she was in the Army, traveling a lot, had pictures in her uniform, and the guy who told me to DM her, she even had a picture with him, and they were in uniform together. So clearly, her Instagram represented that she was in a relationship. Now she said, yeah, that's cool. Thank you for your service. I am married though. All right, so we got a little bit of you know, I'm in a relationship type of banter. She's letting me know that she is taken. But remember, and I'm gonna repeat this throughout the video, is that loyal girls don't even respond at all.
Yeah, man, shout out to that young brother. He's doing his damn thing. So I don't know how he came up with that idea. I don't know if that was organic and original or if somebody just requested him to DM their girls, to start DMing their girlfriends and trying to give them a loyalty test. But it's a phenomenal idea. And of course, the way he's monetizing it is fucking brilliant. But I must say, this is an idea that I had probably when he was like 5 years old, because I was doing this shit in high school, long before there was a social media, and I was doing it for, obviously, for personal reasons. I wanted to see how these girls respond to other guys that are as or more attractive than I am. So that's definitely a cool way for guys to kind of see where their girl's head is at as far as other guys getting at them on social media. It's just, it sucks because the majority of the time the guys are not going to like the feedback. They're not going to like how that girl responds to being messaged by really good-looking guys. But hey, it's better you know as early as possible than you invest too much in a chick and find out that she's a cheater or she's not loyal or whatever. But I don't want you guys to think the world is over simply because most women subscribe to thought culture and have no loyalty or self-discipline or respect or value or anything for men and their commitment. But this is why it's so important that you guys value your commitment. You guys value your time and your resources. Fuck whether or not she does. You have to value your shit, and you have to make the choice on who and how you're gonna delegate that time, those resources, that money, that validation, that energy, whatever it is, guys. You decide how it's spent, all right? Let's go.
Now, he can't predict, since nobody can, what might go wrong with the vehicle in the future, but at least he can give you some idea as to what the reconditioning had been and what shape the vehicle's in prior to purchasing it. Number 2, don't just rely on CarFax.
Because obviously you didn't check her HoeFax.
CarFax or AutoCheck for a vehicle history. Run the VIN, Google the VIN. You know, you go on that Google machine and Google the VIN, and if it's been offered somewhere else before, pictures could populate, could come up. You can check other sites that might give you an idea as to whether or not it's ever been sold at an auction that specializes in damaged or repair cars.
All right, you heard that, man. Make sure you check that CarFax, or if you're talking about women, make sure you check that HoeFax. But I like how he said, don't stop there. Go further. Google the hell out of that VIN number. Find out if that car was ever sold at maybe an auction that specializes in damaged vehicles. Now, how does that correlate to women? Duh. What do you think OnlyFans is? That's an auction that deals primarily with damaged women. A lot of parallels, guys. A lot of parallels. Okay, so you guys need to be making sure she's never been on OnlyFans. Not if she's no longer on it, never been on it. Make sure she's never been on Seeking Arrangements, okay? Make sure, okay? You need to find out as much information as possible, guys, because this is who you're swapping DNA with. This is who you're sharing your bed with, sharing your life with, sharing your resources with. This is some dangerous-ish, okay, guys? So, yeah, I have a girl. There's a reason why I'm comfortable with my girl, confident with my girl. It wasn't just like, oh man, she's pretty, so you could be my girlfriend, okay? So I find it funny that there's so many guys giving you dating advice, yet they don't actually have a girlfriend and never did have a girlfriend at all, or never had a girlfriend for a length of time, or never lived with a woman, or was never married, or it's crazy to me, man. All right, most of you guys are out here interested in having a relationship with women. Let's cut this shit. Most of you guys aren't out here trying to be super player, you know, spinning plates and revolving doors and all that. You guys, let's be real. Most of you guys actually want genuine connections, and you want real relationships, and you want girlfriends. A lot of you guys want to play the field also, but most of you guys, if not all you guys, probably want a combination of both. You know, I know I did when I was younger. I wanted to have good times. I wanted to experience a lot of beautiful women. I wanted to sow my raw oats. I wanted to do all of that, but I also wanted to have a girlfriend of my own, okay? And in the past, I would say like 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s, I myself, or when I was younger, observed the guys that had the most game and were the most, you know, equipped with women doing both simultaneously. Guys would have like a main squeeze. They would have like a girlfriend that they love and they cherish and they could trust, that's loyal, and they were also playing the field. Women don't want to hear that shit, but it is what it is. I mean, how you think you get good in bed? That's why I tell girls all the time. When I'm like, yeah, but you like a guy that knows how to satisfy, you know, you want a guy that knows how to do his thing in the bedroom, right? And they're always like, yeah. Okay, well, how do you think he came upon that knowledge and experience? It wasn't touching himself to Pornhub. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on.
Number 3, always test drive the vehicle.
I do need to jump in real quick. Yes, always test drive the vehicle. Some of you dudes is wifing chicks up and you like, haven't even hit it yet. Test drive the vehicle.
Don't pay too much. Check what the market conditions are on the car that you're thinking about. okay, and make sure that the dealer's pricing is within local guidelines as to what other dealers are selling the car for.
Okay, another similarity. Let me see how that applies. You know, check the market and see what the other dealers are charging for it. That's very important in the dating market. You want to not only see, you know, what other women are offering for your commitment, but you also want to know what other guys contributed or paid to this girl to have access to her. It's very important because you don't want to be doing more than the next guy, and you don't want to be getting less than the last guy or the next guy or any guy for that matter. Okay, yeah. So you want to make sure you're getting the most, which are your terms. You should be dictating what she needs to bring to you in order to get your commitment, okay? And if you're not getting that, you either need to level up yourself. We should always be leveling up, but either you're not at the level you need to be to make those demands, or you need to just find a higher value woman that can deliver. Next.
The fifth one is don't ever pay an additional reconditioning fee above and beyond the price that the dealer is asking for the car. That is the most bogus fee ever. You don't put a car out on the lot for whatever price it is that you're asking if you haven't already done the reconditioning and you haven't already factored the cost of all that reconditioning into the car.
People want to say meet women at church. Don't do that either, right? These women are going to be parasitic to you as well. If she's religious and she's virtuous, she will present herself to you in that way. All right. But if you're just going to go to church, they got so many repackaged peace leaves in there. They're going to just
all right,
be
so
out.
you saw my man, Coach Greg Adams, touch back on that. You know, so looking for girls in church that are acting like somehow they're better than other women that aren't in church is the same thing as you going to the dealership and they telling you one price and then they try to hit you with a reconditioning fee. You get what I'm saying? So that just brings me back to what I was saying earlier about girls that are like, oh, I had my fun and now I'm looking for something serious. That's a reconditioning fee. That's repackaging. She's repackaging herself as girlfriend material, wife material, when she was a party girl, a thought, a 304, or maybe even a sugar baby or whatever for all that time in the past. Now all of a sudden you're going to put a new package on it and tell me it's a whole nother product that's of higher value and you want me to pay more for it? Absolutely not. Guys, you got to know how to watch out for this shit.
That's just another way that some dealers, who many of you would describe as the scum of the earth, okay, that's one way for some of those dealers to try and tack on additional profit. Don't fall prey to that. Four things to never do or never forget to do when you're buying a used car.
So that wraps up my offensive comparing women to cars. How dare you? They're not inanimate objects. They're human beings with feelings and yeah, whatever. Shut that shit up. All right, so the mindset, guys, I think should be consistent across the board, right? In my humble opinion. Whether you're a young boy, an older guy, broke guy, rich guy, whatever. You need to be looking at it the same way you look at buying a car. Okay, when you're a young boy and you're getting your first car, and you finally, you know, you got your permit, but now you can drive and great, good job. Okay, practice. Now you're in the practice mode. Okay, you're not gonna go out there and get the bestest, most expensivest car. You're not gonna start off like that. Okay, but you also want to get something that's somewhat reliable, decent, that you can have for maybe a year or two. Get what I'm saying? So that's when you go ahead and get you a used car just to practice on, all right? No big deal, okay? You're not making any major commitments yet, and we're going to see how responsible you are, and we're also going to see how good of a driver that you are, all right? So your priority at that point is just to drive. Vroom, vroom. That's your priority, right? You're not looking to make any commitments, right? As you get a little bit older, things change, but you still need to be looking at women the same way you do vehicles, if you know what I'm trying to say. Now, on the high end, for you guys that are older, more mature, and have acquired wealth, you guys are valuable guys. If you haven't already been divorced, raped, you haven't already been destroyed in family court and getting ripped for that child support, you don't want to be. So if it hasn't already happened to you, let's talk about how we can prevent it, right? So we got to have this mindset, guys, to protect ourselves as well as to get better results out there in the field. So that's what this whole talk is about, right? It's about being a little bit smarter, being more cautious, being more deliberate, being more calculated, okay? And for you guys that have a lot to lose, you got a lot to lose.
you are in the top 1% of men. Just understand where you are in your position, and you're fairly young. You're going to have any and everyone looking your way. There are going to be some women that say, well, I'm not impressed by his money. Money doesn't impress me. These are fools. All right. You want to disqualify their ass right off the top. All right. They think that love, romance, hopeless romantic and a piece of peace leave is going to be the thing that's going to save them in life. I'm looking for love. That thing's going to impress me. You're looking at the 1% man and you're not impressed by him. Those ladies are ignorant. So just go ahead and get rid of them and disqualify them. Now, what's going to keep you from getting, clapped by a simp? Don't date in the community, number one. Number two, don't date young women that are on like these arrangement dates. Don't bring them back to your place. Go rent out a place at the Red Rock Casino. All right, rent one of them suites and then blow backs out in the suites. It's just a couple of $100. Give them a fistful of 20s. Send them on your way. Never ever meet them in your residence. All right, and I hope you live in a gated community at that. Because so now you prevented being taken out by a simp, being robbed. Now you prevented this woman from coming in who's in desperation mode. She has to sell arrangements and peace leave to make it through life. That tells you how desperate she is, but she's useful. She's a useful idiot to you. But you can't reveal what type of life you have for them. What's the next situation there? You're trying to look for people who love you for you. Okay, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, especially when they always have an out. They have an out where they can get rewarded financially from you. And so if you lead with your wallet, 7 Series Beamer, $1 million house, $200K per year, fully invested. Well, you're leading with your wallet. You're going to have to really qualify people because they're going to look at you as somebody that they can start off with, potentially part ways with you at a 50% rate and make you worth more divorced than you are married. All right. This is the trap coming in. So a person might say, if you lead with your wallet and they see you, they might say, hey, this is going to be good. I would have never dated this guy, but this person has the resources because I can see them, and therefore I'm going to push forward with them. And if it doesn't work, I'll collect on the back end. That's going to be your problem. So now, what do you have left? What do you have left? Potentially, you're going to have to meet somebody on terms where they may not be able to peep your resources out right away. Now, this is going to be a fantastic qualifier for you because you already know what you have. They don't know what you have. For instance,
right, so I am just as interested at pointing out solutions as I am to pointing out the issues. So the issue is that, yes, dating sucks nowadays. Yes, the quality of women has dropped dramatically. Yes, you can't trust them. Yes, they're gold diggers. Yes, they're going to try to use you. They're going to try to finesse you. They're parasites. They're 304s. We know all of that. But what can we do? So, dealing more with the high-end guys, the guys that are super valuable and so on and so forth, I'm going to use Fresh Prince CEO, for example, where he fucked up with this chick is that he didn't put any time into vetting her. Now, if he is a high-valued man, which he definitely is becoming in some senses, at least in the finance department, at least as far as owning property and owning a business and having money, yeah, he's getting high value in that area, right? Now, this makes you very attractive to women as a mark, okay? Now you're looking like a Vic, something that they could take advantage of. They want to get pregnant by you. They want to dig in those pockets. You got to be worried about false allegations and all kind of stuff. These are all things that I warned Fresh and Fit about before I left, but of course, I'm not there anymore to keep reminding them. But anyway, so what should he have done? Okay, now, if you're a busy dude and you don't have the time to be vetting a chick and running around trying to see what a chick is doing, well, you don't have time because you're working. And because you're working, you're making money. And because you have money, you can outsource these things. So what do? You hire a private investigator. You pay someone to vet this chick. I know, right, guys? It should have been fucking common sense. I know, right? This advice seems like duh. Exactly, duh. So instead of spending all that money on the chick on the front end, buying her expensive dinners and taking her out, trying to impress her and spending all this damn money on her to get to know her, why don't you just spend some of that money to another man and let that man do what he does professionally, which is investigate? I don't know, man. It just seems real simple to me. Instead of taking chicks on yachts and boats and helicopter rides, I would rather just pay a dude some bread and be like, yo, go find out as much as you can find out, see what she's really about, and come back to me. But these are the same guys that don't believe in paying professionals, okay? Now, why do they have such a problem with paying, can I say prostitutes? Call girls, right? Why do they have such a hard time paying these people, right? Well, I don't think they have a hard time paying these people. I think they're just trying to keep up a facade. They're trying to keep up an image to impress you young guys over here acting like they have to lie about who they are, or what they believe, or what they stand for. I believe that's part of it. And the other part of it is they don't have any experience having status, being a boss, being an employer, being a high-valued man, being super, super busy with running a business. If they had experience with all those things, they would have never said something as ridiculous as, I don't pay for box. I'd never pay for box. If you pay for box, you ain't got no game. You're lame. And no. There are plenty of men that are handsome, successful, intelligent, and have game that pay for box simply because they don't have the time to run around and vet women for just simply sex. And also, they can't take the risk of these things becoming public, let alone putting these women on your public platform and showing the world how much of a L you're taking with a pro. Yeah, that's right. That chick was on Seeking Arrangement. So technically speaking, you paid her in other ways, made a fool of yourself, made it public, but you're again simply paying a pro to be discreet and professional. Anyway, guys, if you're a big boss and you got this money and you got a lot to lose, pay pros or pay professional investigators. All right?
So then one of the solutions is that he should hire a brand manager or a personal assistant to help him vet girls.
It could be something like that. He could have a private investigator on salary, just that every time he gets with somebody or he's interested in somebody to be serious, they could just run a background, run an internet profile. That's what most CEOs in the Bay Area do. That's what most people in management in the Bay Area do. You have your security company when you're interested in somebody, run the backgrounds on them.
Go over bring you guys game right there. So anyway, so now
Fresh and the peck was so glorious that he didn't care.
Fresh, could you now admit that she never liked you for you? She liked you for the bag. You will not admit. You know why you won't admit that? Because you in love, my brother. If you trying to save your reputation, just call a spade early and say, bro, I like her, so I'm going to give it an excuse. Because you look mad naive, and I know you were smart. Don't be making excuses for some chick who you know running game.
Pretty long, guys, but that's about it. So wrapping it up, so I'm sorry, not sorry, but there was a lot of gems in there as usual. Some of you will pick up on them. Most of them you won't. But the ones that will pick up on that solid advice in that game will prevent yourself to be looking like a sucker getting checked by your boys, like how DJ Academics had to, tap Fresh on the shoulder and said, boy, you tripping. All right? So go out there, put that shit into practice, guys. Remember, keep that mindset. You are the prize. You are the one that chooses, right? And you can't hold a chick responsible for shit that she does if you allow her to do it. If you chose poorly, you can't blame that chick for being a bad choice. It just doesn't make any sense. That's the equivalent of these baby mamas out here, these struggling baby mamas out here blaming a baby father, but yet you chose that dude. You see what I'm saying? Same thing. So women are the gatekeepers to the vagina. So they can't complain about who they let beat it up after the fact. And guess what? Men are the deciders of commitment, or who they give commitment to. So likewise, you can't be whining later, oh, this girl, da-da-da-da-da-da. My ex-wife, da-da-da-da. My ex-girlfriend, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I know, dude, but you chose that. And I'm not saying I'm not sympathetic to divorced men, because hello. I'm also a divorced man, and yeah, I lost my property too. So yeah, so I got divorce rape too. But here's the thing though, I take responsibility and accountability for the woman that I chose. She was extremely insecure, and that was a red flag. I don't know why I thought I could overlook it, but I shouldn't have. All right. So same with all the other guys that got divorced. For the most part, you chose the wrong wife. You know what I mean? And I'm sympathetic to it. It sucks. But we got to make better decisions as men, and we have to warn younger men to stay clear of these landmines so they don't explode, all right, and blow off a limb. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.